So I've been traveling. I was traveling quite a lot as a travel photographer, and when I arrived in India, my last destination before coming to Croatia was India, where I stayed for 10 months. Then I came to Croatia, and I've been living here since. Having traveled so much and having been living here in Croatia and not being able to travel so much because of personal reasons, I opened up a studio. So I started to learn about studio photography. Actually, when I arrived in India, I actually bought some studio lights, and they were like 50 euros each. They still work today, and this is like 6 years ago. And I just taught myself how to do studio photography just by shooting, and oh, why doesn't this work? Like the shutter speed, if you have it too fast, then you get the curtain mark across. So just by shooting and doing and getting models and shooting them and doing some photo shoots for fun and some for free, I was just learning. And then I opened up a studio last year in Zagreb, and I started to do some photo shoots inside. And I closed my studio after 6 months because I actually realized that I'm really not a good studio photographer. Actually, it's not that I'm not good at this, I just don't like it, I just don't get inspired. And with photography, you really have to be inspired. The thing is that when you're in four walls and you've got props or white background and you need to like try to be creative, it's a lot more difficult. So what I realized that I could take my studio where I wanted to. The name of the presentation is if you can't bring the subject to your studio, how can you bring the studio to your subject? And about a year ago I saw some photos on the internet from India, which I thought really interesting. And a lot of the times when you're traveling, you have issues with light, and especially when you're shooting subjects. And I saw this little documentary about this guy who was going through India, and he had this big flash with him, and he had his assistant, and he was like taking these really amazing photos. And I said, well, this is a really nice way to combine kind of flash photography, like studio photography and travel. Some Russian people that I met on the beach, I asked them to pose for me. So a lot of the times I'm just traveling and I have an idea, and I find people saying, hey guys, would you mind doing this for me? And then they just have to convince people to do it. Photographer, I don't know, you'll just find yourself in many strange situations, like on the floor or up somewhere, and you always find yourself in big trouble as a photographer, and especially when you go traveling. Whenever somebody sees you with your camera, it just means something, and the police or the guards, or I suppose even if you go with your camera in a shopping mall here, they will jump on you straight away. So now I wanted to talk to you about studio photography. This is why I don't like studio photography, because there's no soul to it. You try to invent, because I was trying to do stock and stuff like that, and you try to do things which you're going to sell, and you're thinking commercial, and it just kind of breaks your creativity in a sense. You're trying to invent stories. I wanted to do, like for Halloween last year, so I shot this last year, a lady on a broomstick, and so got her into the studio, completely white background, and yeah, this is what I wanted to get, this lady on the broom. So basically what it is, we went to like Bauhaus and we bought the stick here, and then we went into the garden and pulled that off the trees, and then we went to a fancy dress party shop and we bought the hats, and then Dora, she bought, an assistant, she bought this long drape, and then she made this kind of witch costume. And she's basically sitting on, like, you know, when you have a table, like you have like a flat table and you have these wooden stands. So she's sitting on the wooden stand, so we had to Photoshop it away and stuff like that. So there's a lot of work, and basically it doesn't inspire me too much. So that's why I just closed my studio, and I've gone into this mixture of studio photography and street photography.